people are amazing and people are also complicated, right? They're complex. You've got, really faithful volunteers, and you got people who love Jesus and they show up week after week. And then you've got those people that maybe push back a little bit. And look, they also love Jesus, and they're also children of God, created in his image. And so this is kind of the part of it that nobody really trains you for.
Welcome to the Worship Probs podcast, where we aim to entertain, encourage, and equip worship and tech leaders all around the world. Look, we all know that serving in worship and production is great, but the problems, those are real. Thanks for joining us as we dive into today's episode with our host, Brian Tabor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 388 of the Worship Probs podcast. Welcome back. What's up? We're in the month of May in Indianapolis. That's a really exciting time. We've got the Indy 500 coming. We have no NBA playoffs here because we don't really need to get into that. But last year, our guy went down in Game 7 of the finals, and he's not back yet. But we're coming back to vengeance next year. So all that to say, we're watching the Cavs, right?
Yes, we are.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. And
we are.
Hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, it's Mrs. Probs, Kim Tabor with me today.
You almost made me a miss again, huh?
Look, I'm just finding my footing here. We're only a few seconds in. Okay, so we got a really fantastic episode today. We're kind of flipping the script again. We did that recently, and I hope it does those 3 E's: entertain, encourage, and equip. That's what we want everything to do. Every touch point you have with Worship Probs, we want it to do those 3 things. And so it's going to be great today. Settle in, grab something nice to drink. As always, I'm with my vitamin water, 0 sugar, because I'm nothing if not health conscious. Right?
Oh yes. That is true. Yes.
My body is a temple. And so I got to stay healthy. So get yourself something settled, maybe snacktivity, maybe some pistachios, a little snacktivity.
Or Mike and Ike's.
Ooh, okay. We recently led and spoke at Ashland, Kentucky, at Wildwood Church of God with our dear friend Bob Hunt. And we were driving to Florida after the last service. So Bob packed up this amazing lunch for us. It was so kind. And if you know Bob Hunt at all, it was like so unbelievably Bob Hunt. Like every detail was totally buttoned down.
Incredible.
It was
incredible.
Absolutely incredible. And he gave us this, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a container with a lid and a handle, and it had like 8 separate little containers inside, and they were all filled with different kinds of candy. Mm-hmm. Well, I love candy. and so like it was regular M&Ms and peanut M&Ms and Boston baked beans. If you've been around a while, you know what those are. And it had hot tamales and junior mints and a couple of other things. But one of the things that it had was Mike and Ike. And I'd never had them before. And I now am obsessed with Mike.
They made quite an impression on you, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I absolutely love Mike and Ike. So, so maybe you grab some Mike and Ike and enjoy those. I've got my opinions on the various flavors, and I've only done the OGs so far. There's like super sour and all kinds of variants. I've not dipped my toes into those waters yet. I'm still new into the game, but enjoy something. So you're going to enjoy this because, as always, we've got prayer concerns packed with laughs and encouragement. We're not laughing at anybody. We're laughing with you, and it helps us all to just take a deep breath. The world has become a very, very serious place. And if you spend any time on the internet, it's fairly toxic as well. So we want to be the alternative to that. So just make you laugh a little bit. But first, we're going to answer one of your questions in a segment that we call Sliding into the DMs. And if you have a question, or maybe your team is walking through a season where you're wrestling with an issue that you're not sure how to tackle it, send it to us. You can literally DM that to us on any of the socials. That's what sliding into the DMs means. Or you can email that to me directly, info@worshipleaderprobs.com. And you might hear that on a future episode of the podcast where we're doing sliding into the DMs. So shoot us an email, shoot us a DM. Love to tackle your question. Thanks for hanging with us today. Maybe you're watching on YouTube. If you are, you're looking at this picture and you're saying, man, that's a beautiful woman. How in the world? Maybe you're like Corey Miller from Red Rocks. How did you get her?
Oh, boy.
How did you? I mean, he was so confused. And I think that every day. So if you're watching on YouTube, you get to experience the full video. Or maybe you're hanging on your favorite podcast platform. No matter how you're connected today, we're so glad to have you. And before we dive in, I want to give some love to our amazing partners, our amazing partners. And literally the podcast couldn't happen without these folks. They're incredible. I hope you'll hit the link in our bio and check them out. Planning Center and AE Global. This episode of the Worship Probs podcast is brought to you by Planning Center, an all-in-one software that can help you organize every facet of your ministry, connect with your people, and help your people stay connected to each other. Among the many ways Planning Center can help you do that is through task management. In Planning Center, you can create detailed tasks, organize to-do lists, and even collaborate on those tasks with other team members in real time. Do you have recurring events and projects with long to-do lists? Make a task list template to save time. Have regular tasks you need help keeping up with? Set your tasks to automatically repeat at an interval of your choosing. And the best part is that you can create tasks from absolutely anywhere in Planning Center using the toolbar. You'll find your Tasks tab in Planning Center Home, the place you see all the important updates happening across your account. To learn more and get started today, visit planningcenter.com or click the link in our bio. Prayer Concerns is brought to you by our friends at AE Global. Worship and production ministry is hard. Every week, you're preparing, troubleshooting, and dreaming about what could be next. And most days, it can feel like you're doing it all alone. But what if you had a trusted partner who understood the pressure and chaos and walked with you through it? For more than 30 years, AE Global has been building relationships with churches just like yours, helping with everything from audio, video and lighting to system design and even installation. But they're more than an integrator, and they're about more than just selling gear. AE Global is a team that comes alongside you and a partner for the long haul, someone to brainstorm, troubleshoot, and dream with. They don't just care about your equipment, but the people behind it. Because great ministry happens when you don't have to carry it all by yourself. If you're ready for a partner who understands church production and wants to help you move forward with confidence, visit the link in our bio and reach out to AE Global today. Don't do ministry alone. Navigate it together with AE Global.
Well, we're going to be flipping the script again today, and we're going to do a sliding into the DM message. So, Brian, this is a tough question that comes up quite a bit. How do you lead through tension? If there are relationships that are difficult, if there is a team member that has become a little bit difficult, how do you lead through tension?
Wow. It does come up a lot, and it's a great question. And I would love to tell you I have some practical experience with this, but all my information today will be purely theoretical because I'm kidding.
You've never had this, huh?
I'm totally kidding. totally kidding.
I know you're kidding on that one.
Absolutely, totally kidding. And look, if you've been in ministry for 6 minutes, you've probably had to face a situation where maybe it was a person with an idea or an opinion or whatever it was, and you've had to deal with it as the leader. And here's the thing: people are amazing, and people are also complicated, right? They're complex. You've got, really faithful volunteers, and you got people who love Jesus and they show up week after week. And then you've got those people that maybe push back a little bit. And look, they also love Jesus, and they're also children of God, created in his image. And so, this is kind of the part of it that nobody really trains you for. We can train you in like how to build a set list and how to run a rehearsal and how to dial in your mixes and all that kind of stuff. But we don't always do a great job of preparing people for the people stuff. And really, that saddens me, because we're in the people business, right?
It's the most important stuff.
That's the most important stuff we're doing. And so, we don't always prepare people for, how to have hard conversations, how to address maybe unhealthy patterns or habits, or when necessary, how to maybe remove somebody from your team if all else fails. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about all of that today. And here's it. We're called to love people, and we're called to love them deeply. We're also called to lead and protect the health and the culture of our team, right? Because our team, man, we've said it since the very beginning of this podcast. All people do all kinds of things for senior pastors, and they should. Senior pastors need it. But you know who else needs it? Worship and production leaders and their volunteers. Imagine all the touch points that they have in the body of your church. We can get those people healthy. Watch out. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna talk kind of about how to do both, how to love people deeply and how to protect culture. And okay, so I've got don't tune out. Okay, I got 10 things, but we're gonna fly. Okay, we're gonna fly through these. I promise. These are like anchors that you can hold on to when things get complicated, or maybe you're leading through tension, or you're leading challenging people, or you're in a challenging situation. Because in those moments, you don't need more information. You need clarity, you need conviction, and you need courage. That's very senior pastor-esque right there, isn't it? Mm-hmm. 3 C words: clarity, conviction, and courage. All right? Okay, so saddle up. I got 10 things. And like I said, they're going to fly. This is not going to be an hour-long episode. So get something to write with, open your notes app, whatever you have to do. And I pray that these are helpful. I've lived through almost all of them, probably all of them, more than once. So, okay, number 1, clarity is kindness. Clarity is kindness. Most difficult situations don't start with difficult people. They start with unclear expectations or unclear communication, right? Expectations and communication. Leaders, you got to be used to those words, right? If your team doesn't clearly understand what matters, what's expected, what healthy looks like, you're just setting yourself up for frustration. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you haven't defined it, you can't hold people accountable to it.
Yes, I like that.
I'm going to say that again. If you haven't defined it, you can't hold people accountable to it. Mm-hmm. Right? And you've lived this right beside me. You've lived it in leading your own ministry. Mm-hmm. Right? You've got to define what expectations, and you got to communicate clearly, right? So that's number 1. So what was that? 45 seconds? So that you can see I'm a lightweight. This is not going to take forever today, even though there's 10. Okay, number 2. Address it early, not emotionally. Address it early, not emotionally. And this is where most of us miss it, myself included. We like to wait. we notice something, but we let it go. And then it happens again and we let it go. And then it happens again. And now we're ticked, right? We're annoyed. Why would that person do that? And Kim always says to me, Brian, not everyone reacts to situations like you do. Not everyone handles things like you do. Not everyone communicates like you do. But I get annoyed, because so suddenly the conversation's not calm, it's emotional, right? So Jesus gives us a really good model, Matthew 18. Go and point out their fault just between the two of you. Early conversations probably are going to sound a little more like, hey, I noticed something. Can we talk about it? But if you wait and wait and wait, a late conversation is going to sound like, okay, we need to talk about what you've been like the last 6 months. Delay is going to turn a small issue into a big issue almost every time. And by the way, I'm on here with my spouse. That's true in life, in marriage.
Absolutely.
It's true
Any relationship.
in everything. And so, yes, absolutely. Delay turns small issues into big ones. All right. Number 3, pastor the person, not just the problem. And I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm talking to myself, fam. It's really easy to reduce people just to their issue. Oh, that person's always late, or that lady is really hard to work with, or that guy has such an attitude. But people, they're not just those issues. They're a person. And here's the deal. They were created in God's image just like you were. Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burdens. So ask questions. You're in a pastoral role, whether your title has pastor in it or not. You've heard me say that 1,000 times on this podcast. So ask questions. What's going on in your life? How are you doing? How are you really doing? Because sometimes what might look like an issue for your team it could be a life issue. There could be something going on at home you don't know anything about, or at work that you don't know anything about. Something going on with a child that you don't know anything about. People are never just problems to solve. They're souls to shepherd. That's number 3. Number 4, assume the best, but don't ignore the pattern. Assume the best, but don't ignore the pattern. Okay, we got to lead with grace. We got to believe the best. 1 Corinthians 13 says that love always trusts. But Jesus also said in Matthew 7:16, by their fruit you will recognize them. So yes, we got to assume the best, but also we have to pay attention to patterns. One moment, that's grace, but a repeated behavior, that's a pattern.
Yes.
Okay. Grace doesn't mean pretending patterns don't exist. Grace doesn't mean pretending patterns don't exist.
Love that. Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, what you allow, you multiply. What you allow, you multiply. I learned this one the hard way. So learn from my mistakes. Okay, this one will preach. All right, what you allow, you multiply. If you tolerate unhealthy behavior and patterns, all you're doing is teaching your team that this behavior is acceptable. This pattern is acceptable. Galatians 5:9, a little yeast works through the whole batch of dough. Okay, culture is shaped by what you celebrate, what you model as a leader, what you confront, what you ignore. Those shape culture just as much as what you celebrate and what you model. If you got a person who shows up late every week, or somebody who has a bad attitude, or somebody who creates tension and nothing happens, the rest of your team will notice. Right?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
Unaddressed issues don't stay small, they spread. I'll tell you a quick story, and Kim walked with me through this. There was a season at one of our churches where we had a couple of different venues rolling at the same time. And we were under some pressure to launch this other venue, and in no way were we ready. Can I get an amen? You ever had that pressure in ministry? Hey, I know you're not ready, but we got to do this Sunday. So we had some technical problems, unexpected technical stuff. It happens, right? And it took us a while to correct them, because what we were doing was sort of a silly idea, I think, but it was what we were told to do. So submit to leadership, right? And we had some adult members of our adult worship team singing, and we had some members of our youth singing with them on the team in this other venue. I had parents of some of the youth reach out to me, and they said, please don't schedule my child with those adults anymore. I was like, well, talk to me about it. What's going on? Well, their attitudes are so toxic. I don't want that rubbing off on my child. So I was faced with a situation where I had to have multiple, hopefully I did it lovingly, but I had to have multiple conversations with adults who should know better. Because if I didn't, that would have spread across it. Do you remember this situation?
Like wildfire. Yes, I do.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful. And so I had to address it, and I kind of had to address it head on. And fortunately, most everybody took a beat, stayed involved. Even I had one of them apologize. And that was a huge win for the team and for the kingdom. And so just, folks, unaddressed issues, they're not going to stay small. They're going to spread through your whole team. It'll be a pandemic of toxicity if you don't address it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6, private correction, public honor. I like
that. Yeah.
I try not to make a habit of correcting people publicly, unless you can't avoid it. I also think, have you ever gotten one of those emails that goes to the entire team, but everybody who gets it knows who it's for? I mean, it's
yes.
like, yeah, right. I mean, it's like, okay, I try to never correct it publicly, not from the stage, not in rehearsal, not in a way that embarrasses them or in like a mass email. I try to encourage publicly, correct privately. Okay. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, encourage one another and build each other up. Protect their dignity. And when even when you're addressing an unhealthy pattern or something that's affecting the team, because you're always you're always teaching and you're always modeling things for your team when you're handling situations like this, right? You got to protect their dignity even when you're addressing like a dysfunction or some kind of an unhealthy pattern. You got to protect that because you're always teaching. We're almost done. Number 7, call them up, not just call them out. If all you do is point out what's wrong, people feel defeated.
Yeah.
But when you cast vision for who they can become, people are going to lean in. Okay? Hebrews 3:13, encourage one another daily. So don't just say, hey, this isn't working. Say, I see some potential in you. I see more potential in you. I want to help you get there. Right? Correction without vision feels like rejection. Correction without vision feels like rejection.
Ooh, wow. That's something to think about. Yeah.
Something to think about. And fam, I've failed at all of these at various times in my 30 years. And so I'm preaching to myself here, but I want you to be able to learn from things I did wrong. That's kind of what this whole account is about, right? Okay, I got two more. 8, document the journey. This is a very practical, but very, very important. Don't rely on your memory. Okay, you're going to have to keep track of conversations, keep track of patterns. If you have a conversation and there's like a mutual agreement to next steps, you got to keep track of that, right? Summarize in an email. This is what we talked about. These are some benchmarks for when we're hoping to see this or that or whatever. And you're not trying to build a case, but you want to create clarity and fairness. And I will say, if their churches are just like this, churches and schools, people sometimes, not all the time, sometimes if this hat represents common sense, there are times in churches and schools where people take off the common sense hat and you just hear the rage, or the you hear the emotion, right? And if you have documented the steps that you've walked through, I dealt with a situation where I've told the story on here before. It's the most horrific audition/interview I ever had. And I did everything I could to handle it in a godly way. I had people with me. I did everything I could. And it eventually landed on my senior. She went around me. Because this lady thought, if I just tell the senior pastor what happened, he's going to right this wrong. Well, I had documentation of everything we had talked about, everything that had happened. And there are times when that's important, right?
Yes.
So you want to create clarity and fairness. Clarity protects both the leader and the person being led. Okay. Number 9, restoration is the goal. Restoration's always the goal, right? This is where you got to keep your heart soft and pliable. The goal isn't punishment, it's restoration. Galatians 6:1, restore that person gently. And sometimes that's going to mean, hey, let's take a step back from the team just for a season. And you're going to frame it like, this isn't the end. This isn't punishment. This is space for God to do something deeper. Right? Stepping off the team can be the beginning of healing. That's important, right? Okay, number 10. This potentially is the one you've all been waiting for. Okay, if you're watching or listening today. Okay, number 10. Removal is a last resort. I will tell you, there are times when you can't avoid it. But this is the hardest part of leadership. Another thing you've heard me say on here 1,000 times is there's no neutral in leadership. There's no marking time. Like you always have to have your foot on the gas. You're not always going 100, but you've always got to be leaning in. Okay, this is the hardest part. And if you've never had to do this, here's the good news. You will. You will, or you probably will. Okay. Because there are moments where you've had the conversation, you've extended grace, you've given opportunities to grow, and the pattern just doesn't change. And for the health of the team, you got to make a tough call. And that's why leadership can be lonely sometimes, right? Titus 3:10 says, warn a divisive person once, and then warn them a second time. After that, have nothing to do with them. Okay, that sounds a little harsh, right? It's not harsh. It's protective, right? You're protecting them. You're protecting your team. And you got to, removing someone from your team is not removing them from the church. It's not rejection. It's redirection. Every time I've had to do this, I've had to say, we might find out that serving on our team is not the right fit for you. Maybe God's gifted you to do something different. And if he has, as your pastor, I'm going to walk with you and we're going to find that. It's not rejection, it's redirection. And sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do for your team and even for the person. Sometimes it's the most pastoral thing you can do is to say, you know what, I don't think this is the right place for you right now.
It's a tough thing to do.
It's so tough. It's so tough.
Yeah. And a lot of the things, some of the foundation of some of the points you have been talking about is speaking the truth in love.
Yeah.
And I think some of this comes down to us knowing ourselves well enough to know, God created each of us differently.
Yeah.
Some of us, we are very comfortable with the truth part. Very comfortable. Others of us, we are very comfortable with the love part.
I'm the lover.
And
I'm a lover,
yeah.
man. I don't want to have hard conversations. Who loves that? Nobody
but
loves that.
There are some people who do not shy away from that. And we know some people like that. They have no problem going right to the jugular. And so you have to know yourself well enough. Okay,
Yeah.
where am I the strongest and where am I the weakest? And then I think this goes back to, I know you talk a lot about mentorship, mentoring.
Yes,
If you
yes.
have a mentor,
Yes.
put this conversation before them and say, look, I know I'm stronger in this area. This is what I'm thinking about saying. This is how I'm thinking about delivering this to this volunteer or this member of the team. What do you think?
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid to bring someone else into the situation and to know what your own strengths are. If you are a lover and you're really strong with the love aspect, you might need to have someone help you to form what is a way to really say the truth, and vice versa. If your strength is, I don't have any problem speaking the truth. Okay, what's a loving way? What is a kind way to say these things? Even though what you're about to say is true, it's so important to be kind in what you're saying. And I know you mentioned that in different ways in a number of your points. But I think there's some real wisdom in knowing yourself well enough. What is my strength and what is my weakness, and bringing someone else in who can help you with that.
It's super important, guys, because we've talked before, this is personal, like offering these gifts back to the Lord as you serve. It's a really personal thing. And for you as the leader, you're not just managing, you're shepherding, you're guarding culture, you're stewarding what God is doing in your church. And that's a huge responsibility. It takes courage and wisdom and grace. But I just learned from my mistakes, man. You got to love people deeply, but don't sacrifice the health of your team just to avoid a difficult conversation, because I've done it and it does not lead to anything good.
Well, I think most of us have done that before.
I don't think you've done that. You've watched me do that.
Oh, I've done it plenty. So, and when you're communicating expectations, communicate again and again and again and again what the expectations
are. Our
are.
mentor always say, always taught us, tell them what you're going to tell them. Step 1. Step 2, tell them. Right? And step 3, tell them what you told them.
Yep.
It's huge. Over communicate. Look, over communicate. I've said this 1,000 times, especially in the day of Planning Center. Communication is the easiest thing that we do.
Yeah. Well, those are great points, Brian.
Well, I hope
a lot of wisdom in that.
I pray that it's helpful. I always tell what I lack in expertise, I make up with in brute strength and enthusiasm. So
you have plenty of expertise. You've been doing this for more than 30 years. So you got something to say for sure.
We would love to tackle your questions. As I said earlier, shoot us an email, info@worshipleaderprobs.com. Let us know how your team's doing. Or if you're wrestling with something that you don't know how to tackle, maybe it's not something as serious as removing people from your team, but nothing's too small. Let us know. Or, of course, you can DM those to us on any of the socials.
Hey, BT.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for prayer concerns.
So, guys, prayer concerns. We're talking about people today, right? People issues. And here's the encouraging part. You're surrounded by people. Your congregation is made up of people.
What
People
is it
would-
that they say? Ministry would be great if it wasn't for
if
the
it
people.
wasn't for the people, right. Laughing, we're laughing at that.
We're laughing.
Do not email.
Yes.
Do not email us about that. But your congregation is surrounded. Is full of them, and they all got opinions, and sometimes their opinions are going to be very, very different than yours, right? So occasionally they might say something to you that comes in a little bit sideways.
No.
I once had a lady tell me that when I did, and her husband was completely ashamed standing behind her because this was in person. This was pre-email. She came up to me and she said, "I just want you to know, when you do three songs in a set back to back to back, I don't get anything out of it at all. Now, when you do 2 songs, it blesses me greatly."
And you know what? I've thought about that. Do you know that probably had to do with how much she was standing? She didn't want to stand for 3 songs.
Probably.
So she wanted to stand for 2, and that was it. So she made that a spiritual issue for herself.
2 was a sweet spot for her. 2 was a sweet spot for her. So sometimes they come in with that. Sometimes they got a really weird song request. Yeah. My weirdest one is The Circle of Life from The Lion King. That is absolutely true. Sometimes they come in with a ridiculous decline, like somebody on your team. They declined to serve in Planning Center, and for the reason they tell you they're going to a rodeo cowboy convention in outer space or whatever. So all of those we call prayer concerns. And send yours in to us. We'd love to hear from you. That same email address, info@worshipleaderprobs.com. Or even better, there's a link in our bio. Just click that, scroll down to prayer concerns. It takes you right to our website. Fill out the prayer concerns form. You'll always be anonymous. Your church will always be anonymous. Again, as I said earlier, we just want to help people take a breath and just remind them we're all in this together. We're kind of wrestling with the same stuff, right? And so we share these every week on the podcast with hopes of just making you laugh. So I've got the OGs today. The ones that started it all 388 episodes ago.
Ooh.
That is such a wild, like you could listen to one a day and in a year you still wouldn't be done. That's insane, man. That's absolutely insane. This is 8 years of my life.
It's hard to believe.
It's wild. It's absolutely
just
wild.
keeps going. It just keeps going. What a blessing.
It is a blessing. It's an unbelievable blessing.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful to the Lord for the opportunity to steward this. And I'm grateful for all you for listening and watching, and you spend time with us, every week or every day. Somebody's listening or watching somewhere in the world. And that blows me away. So anyway, I digress. Let's dive right in. Prayer concern number 1. Why don't you ever play Jesus, He Knows Me by Phil Collins?
Phil Collins?
I don't
know that song.
I don't have any idea what that song is. I don't know that there's a lot of churches playing Phil Collins. I don't know that. I look at
have meant Phil Wickham maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
I look at those Sunday set list posts. I don't see Phil Collins on there very much.
Yeah, I don't either.
I bet you there are some drummers who work in that drum fill for The Air Tonight. I bet you there's some drummers who work that in, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, number 2, prayer concern number 2. Wow, the LED wall makes you look so much older. You're way younger and thinner looking in person.
Well, at least it wasn't the reverse. At least they weren't saying the reverse. I've had somebody say the reverse to me before.
I'd like to say,
and that's no fun.
Let's put you on that LED wall and see how you look in 8K or whatever. Oh my gosh. Okay, number 3, prayer concern number 3. I had just gotten done with 4 days of Christmas Eve services. 4 days.
4 days.
We did a lot of Christmas Eve. We never did 4 days. Okay. 4 days of Christmas Eve services. A lady comes up and says, I just love your hair. It's so cute all the time. But I did notice yesterday that you had one curl that was sticking up on the wrong side, and I just couldn't figure out why no one fixed it for you. And then she put her hands in my hair.
Oh.
That is a no-no.
You never touch another person's hair.
I don't think there
that you
should be a
don't
lot
know,
of touching.
especially. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we should have a lot of touching. You know, especially hair. Like, there's not a reason to touch hair. Like, come on. Come
There's
on.
always got to be a but. But,
yeah, exactly.
she says,
I love your hair, but here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, okay. Number four, prayer concern number 4. Do you guys do any Elvis gospel?
Elvis gospel.
I'm going to need to Google that. I
didn't know that was
means.
a category.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I guess maybe from his gospel era or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're probably talking about He Touched Me.
Oh, that's
Didn't
right.
Elvis record that?
Bill Gaither. He touched me.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Here's the last one. The bottom of the pudding cup prayer concern number 5. Wow, that was so much better than we expected after a service. Okay, there are worse things to hear, I guess, after a worship service, right?
But to know this person's coming in with such low expectations.
Very, very low expectations. Oh, my word. Fam, those are prayer concerns. Send yours in to us. Just go worshipleaderprobs.com is our website. Click on prayer concerns up in the menu, or there's a link in our campsite that'll take you right to that page, and send yours in. We would love to hear from you, and you might hear it on a future episode of the podcast. Well, we're like 2 weeks back from vacation. Is that right?
Yes.
You want to go again?
Oh, it feels a lot longer than 2 weeks.
I wish we were still
2 weeks
there.
ago. Oh my goodness.
Man, I wish we were still there. Hey, you might have noticed on Sunday mornings, we post these. This is our prayer for you and your team. And we've transitioned those to video about a month ago. And so
I love that. I love that you've done that.
Well, these are all volunteers from around the country, and our friend Luke is in Canada, and they all volunteer to help us run the Instagram account, and they've all volunteered to make these videos. And so I hope you're getting something out of those, and I hope you use those with your team, and maybe in your huddle, in your Sunday huddle or Saturday huddle or whenever your services are, just to maybe encourage your team. Those are the ways that we're praying for all of you as you step in to serve on the weekend. Experience Conference 2026.
Yes.
Guys,
it's going to be awesome.
Are you peeping this lineup? I mean, incredible worship leaders, incredible speakers. And there's going to be like 100 breakouts. Like we're going to be there doing a podcast, and we'll do some teaching as well. And it's unbelievable. And it's at Disney World, and you got to come. You just need to come. We've probably been going to Experience. What do you think? 10 years?
I would say so. Yeah. It's got to be 10. Yeah.
It's got to be 10 years. And it never, ever disappoints, man. I've said this before, like if I'm in a moment of crisis in my life or in my ministry, and if you know anything about me, the last couple of years, we've had some crisis moments. And out of the top 5 phone calls I'm going to make, easily 3 of them are people that I know because of Experience Conference and relationships that have built over those 10 years. And so it's not just great content. It really is a community. Longyear always says it's the greatest week of church camp you will ever attend. And it really is a blast. And so here's what we're doing. We've partnered with Experience Conference to help you save some money. And, it's expensive to put on an event like this in a place like this. And so as the price continues to kind of go up as the event gets closer, we have a discount code for you, PROBS26. And you can use that code to save $30 on every registration and so I hope you come. I hope you bring members of your team. You can look at their Passion is coming. Red Rocks is coming. Who else am I missing?
It's a
Kent?
killer lineup.
It's
Yes, yes.
it's a killer lineup. That's just the beginning, and they're announcing more all the time. And so you need to join us. It's going to be amazing, and it's fun, and you will have a blast. You'll meet people. You'll eat good food. You'll do all of those things. But the most important thing you're going to do is you're going to go back into your church re-energized for the next season of ministry. And this conference is in September, so it's going to fill your tank to really crush Christmas and get through that next season. Not just survive it, but flourish in that season of ministry. I mean, that kind of was our experience, right? We were
Yes.
burned out. We were burned out.
We were tired. Yep.
God took us there, and it changed us. So, excuse me. So join us at Experience Conference 2026. Link in the bio, and the discount code is there. Worship karaoke. Keep a lookout for these episodes. We're having such a blast with those. Kim, I feel like I've talked nonstop on this episode. Would you do us a kindness and talk a little bit about worship encounter retreats and what those look like and what we're doing to try to partner with teams?
Yeah, we love the worship encounter retreats. We'll come in, Brian and I will come in, and we'll do some general sessions and some breakout sessions with your teams, your worship teams, your vocalists, your band, your production people. And it's usually about 3 hours on a Saturday. We can even do a rehearsal together, and sometimes we stay after and we help lead worship on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
And it's just a really great time of unity for your teams. Also, it's also a time to press into intimacy with the Lord as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one of our favorite things to get to do, for sure.
We love it, man. It's spiritual, it's practical, it's community building, and we would love to come and be with your team. Shoot me an email, info@worshipleaderprobs.com, and let's talk about it. Let's see if it's practical. I'll say this, if you're a church that's in Florida, last year at the end of Experience Conference, we stayed over in Florida to lead one for a really amazing Baptist church over on the west coast of Florida. And so if you're in Florida, I mean, we're already going to be in Florida. That travel's it can be expensive, but we're already going to be there. So let's talk about it if you're in Florida, and we'd love to come and be with you. And guys, speaking of being with you, we really do love every single week, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform. I feel like we're friends. We're old friends. And that's one of the things I love about going to conferences. People will stop me and say, hey, you used one of my prayer concerns. And we'll have a moment of laughing. Or, hey, you used one of my DMs for sliding into the DMs. Or, hey, I reached out and sent a DM to the account about needing a resource or help, or I needed to I needed something, and I posted it in the community group on Facebook. Guys, that gives us life, man. And so we always love hanging with you like we did here on episode 388.
Yes. Now, make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And we would love for you to take a minute and head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating with a nice review.
Nice.
Thanks, too, for following us on all the socials at Worship Probs on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Threads, at Worship Leader Probs on TikTok. We'd love to have you join the Worship Probs community group on Facebook, too. Yeah. And on X, just look for the Worship Leader Probs hashtag.
Yeah, and real quick before we bounce, massive thanks to our girl, Allie Bajanos from Allie B Creative. Yeah. She does a phenomenal job.
Incredible.
She is. She edits this podcast. She edits Kim's podcast, the Strip Free podcast. And I hope you check that out too. And Allie does all kinds of stuff to serve churches around the country with social media coaching and help with branding and websites and logos and all kinds of stuff. And she'd love to coach your comms team or your social media team about how to communicate with your church or what some good rhythms are for social media, AI, all that stuff. Allie is amazing. So 10 out of 10, recommend her. We'll tag her in the description. And if you go to that campsite link, there's a button there where you can shoot her an email and talk to her about how she might be able to help your team. And thanks to our dear friend, long-term friend, Scott Hoke, for our voiceover intro. You need any voiceover work for a special project at your church or your company, you can reach Scott through the link in our bio as well. And he's a dear brother, loves the Lord, and I know he would do a great job for you. You can hear him on Mecum Car Auctions. He is the television host for Mecum Car Auctions, if you ever see those on TV. So guys, we love you. Thanks so much for hanging out for episode 388. Until next time, deuces.
KT out.